otherwise known as the short, special, or dare I say it, retard bus. I started riding the bus in my sophomore year of high school when my brother Alexander started at my secondary school. I went to a combined middle and high school from 7th through 12th grades, and somehow this was the first time that my brother had ever gone to the same school as me. I had always been bused to the Gifted and Talented Center school, and my brother had hopped from one mental retardation program to another. Now I could finally be the traditional big sister. Even though my parents offered to drive me the 5 minutes down the street to school, I couldn't just let my brother go to middle school every day alone, now that we finally were going to the same place. How would he handle ruthless hallways full of 4,000 chaotic students when he has trouble with high ceilings and shiny floors? Would he be afraid or upset, unable to understand why or how he had ended up there? I had to be there to make sure he started the day with someone familiar, knowing there was at least one person in that building that he knew and that loved him back. I rode the short bus each morning because I believed my brother's Down syndrome and autism would make his transition to middle school that much harder. Despite my resolve, I found myself hiding from view when the bus reached school. I became grateful that it parked in the back and raced inside once I got off. Sometimes I took alternate routes into school so no one would know what bus I came on. I would kiss Alexander goodbye and dash inside surreptitiously. I even created these hypothetical backup scenarios in my head, ready to deny my identity if anybody asked. Was that you coming off the short bus? No. But wasn't that your violin? My violin's in my locker. Must have been somebody else. I became plagued with what-ifs. What if someone saw me and assumed that it was me who had the disability? I knew from years of gifted programs that those with any type of disability were treated badly among my peers. Would my reputation as an honors student be tainted? What if someone saw me get off that bus and spread rumors about me, ruining my chances at making friends or keeping the friends I had? What if I stopped being that girl Klaudia and became the girl who rides the special bus? This feeling of shame or even fear was new to me. I had never worried about how people saw my brother's disability. I always assumed people would be accepting and polite, or I didn't bother to know them if they weren't. I found it strange that I was more anxious when the disability was applied to me riding the short bus, as if that was more shameful or embarrassing than the disability itself. I started to examine my own values about being smart. How could I have compassion and respect for my brother and others with intellectual disabilities, yet be terrified at the thought of people thinking of me as less than perfect? The most unsettling part of it all was that I associated less than perfect with the disability. I don't know if anyone ever noticed me getting off my brother's bus, but the more I rode it, the less anxiety and fear I had. Every afternoon, I would get on the bus and Alexander's face would light up exactly the way it did when he was a baby and saw me climbing into his crib to be with him. Every day, like clockwork, I got on the bus and he wrapped his arms around me, grinning from ear to ear. I would try to pull away and he would just hug me again and again. And I like to think that each hug meant something different about his day. For that year, it didn't matter how bad my day had been or how nervous I'd felt trying to get to the bus without being seen. I knew Alexander would be happy to see Klaudia, his sister. Not because I'd gotten a good grade, or played violin well, or sang on pitch, or worked hard, but just because I am me.